Does autism have any effect on paranoia? Hey guys, welcome back to the show, welcome back to the diary. So yes, I'm asking the question today, does autism have any effect on paranoia? Paranoia, as most people will know it as, means that someone's looking over their shoulder all the time, or they always see bad in something that someone says when it's not actually that bad, or they think that something bad's going to happen, or someone's saying something bad, or someone's saying something about them. And with autism is quite nasty. It can be really nice, it can be really fun, it can be really good, but autism for the most part is pretty nasty for those who have autism, because understanding and portraying the right tone of voice is really difficult for autistic people. For me personally, I don't know how it is for anyone else with autism, but for me personally, the slightest elevation in volume can be seen as nasty to me. It can be seen as aggressive to me. So the question is the autism that's picking up on that and making me see it that way making my possible paranoia worse? That's the question for you guys today. What do you think? Do you think autism can make paranoia worse? Or do you think it's got no effect? But the point I'm trying to say, and the question that I'm trying to have or ask today is it? Because when you look at things like the inability to be able to understand tone of voice, when you have a sarcastic tone, or give a sarcastic tone to an autistic person, unless they've been trained well in how to pick it up, how to spot it and everything, they're not going to know you're being sarcastic. So if you're saying things like the whole Sherlock one, I don't really want to say it because swearing, trying not to swear. I will use the lower grade ones like ass and all that, but the higher ones I'm trying to keep out of these videos just for the sake of it. But you know the phrase I mean, or the whole well duh. It's like if you do something like that to an autistic person that hasn't been trained in what sarcasm looks like, what sarcasm is, and how it sounds, then they're gonna take great offense to it. And every single time someone else then uses something like that to them, or says, duh, they're gonna start taking offense to it. Or I would take offense to it. I don't know about anyone else, but I'd be there about it if I'm not in the right mood. If I'm not in the right way, mentally or anything, then I'm just gonna be there about it, because my mind's like, they're attacking you, they think you're stupid, they're laughing at you, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing the other. All because my autism's going, that's not sarcasm, that's something else, they're being nasty. Whereas the neurotypical brain in someone else would go, sarcasm. So they might be a bit like, about it. That's the reaction that I'm trying to point out. It's like, we don't necessarily get it straight away. I mean, with me personally, it's better if I know the person, and I've known the person for a while, for me to understand their sarcasm, because everyone's sarcasm is different. I mean, I use sarcasm quite a bit. I know when I'm using it, or I personally know when I'm using it. Some people don't know when I'm using it. When I'm using it, I sometimes have to say, I was being sarcastic, I was making a joke. It was a joke on the subject. And that's the other thing. Jokes are really hard for autistic people because jokes require correct tone of voice, correct body language, and correct, we'll call it exposition, even though it is expedition. It's just that not everyone's gonna, I mean, most of you guys don't know what it means, but some people that might watch it won't. It basically means setup. The setup of the joke and the way it's told. Storytelling as well. Storytelling can be a thing that autistic people are good at. It depends on what you as the autistic person are interested in. If you see rules for storytelling, you might immediately understand it, and some people might go, okay, so what now? Huh? And they'll be like that until you point out stories that involve them. Things like Pixar's rules for storytelling, or rules for good storytelling, and the story setup, the storyline setup, the whole once upon a time there was, one day, because of that, until finally. Some people might turn around to that and be like, well, Cinderella? And they're right, Cinderella, but they might not be able to fill the rest of the story around it. Sometimes that's also a problem with autism or autistic people. I mean, I don't know how it is for everyone, but sometimes I have a problem with that. I have a problem seeing the whole story, especially if I'm making it up on the spot. I have a problem seeing the whole story around that. I cannot break it down into one sentence to fit those different sections, because I'm just there thinking about everything that happens. Like, say with Harry Potter. Obviously, you guys know that I'm big on Harry Potter. It's one of my favourite franchises. Fantastic Beasts is going good. It's going great. But plotline to Crimes of Grindelwald, it is kind of a bit of a letdown, and everyone's saying it. I mean, granted, the film was really good to me. I really enjoyed it, but it is true that the plot line's just really kind of meh, because it doesn't fit into that I want to say hierarchy, but it's not what it is. It doesn't fit into that structure properly, and it doesn't quite work. The best stories fit into that structure really, really well, like most of the Pixar films, if not all of them. I mean, all the Pixar films. But that's Pixar, that's storytelling, but that was the point in the joke thing. Jokes require all of that stuff. It requires good storytelling, it requires all that. And a lot of the time, autistic people don't have that. I did say that some autistic people will be quite good at storytelling. It depends on what you're interested in. And what I was trying to say was, autistic people, sometimes, if they're good with it, they can see that structure and go, right, okay, that story. There we go, done. The story's done. Because they've gone, right, that sentence, until finally, that sentence. Okay, so, and just made up the rest around it. Because that's all you need to do with that. You need to find those first few sentences of that structure and then just build up around it. That's all you need to do with storytelling. With good storytelling, anyway. And that's what some autistic people lack. So, telling the joke right, making up a joke on the spot, isn't easy for a lot of autistic people because we just don't have that ability wired in. We have to learn it. I mean, like I said, some autistic people can straight away, but it's because they're into that sort of thing. They're interested in stories. They're spending as much time as they can looking at stories, watching films, reading stories, and finding out what makes them good, what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it, and working out why it was bad, what went wrong, why they didn't like it, or what, like I said, what about it that made them like it. But so, with the inability to understand sarcasm, the inability to see a joke or understand the joke, it can be difficult to understand when someone's teasing, someone's messing around, or someone's joking because of all that. Like I said, with me personally, I've got to know the person properly before I can fully understand when they're messing around, when they're joking. Because they've got tells. Everyone has a particular tell about themselves when they're doing things like that. It become very obvious, and for autistic people that can be all that's needed to keep paranoia, or to keep the autism from going, it's nasty, it's not a joke, they're not joking, this isn't a joke. When it actually is. So that is the question, is autism playing a part in making paranoia worse? Does autism make paranoia worse? Do you agree? What do you think? Let me know down below. As promised, I will do a video tomorrow, as I didn't do one on Monday. So that's it for me today, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. See ya. Put a little bit of shit, put a little bit of shit, put a little bit of shit.